I'm bringing sexy back. Hey, I'm telling truth and only telling facts. Hey, let's go. Let's go. I'm just straight into it because I have an exclusive today. An exclusive. What was the argument really about between George and April? It will surprise you, and I will be sharing today from the mouth of Georgie verbatim. And let's get an update on where we all are so far. So look forward to the George and April breakdown and some exclusives in relation to Gemma and Matt, because that is a flipping interesting situation. We need to break this down because there's the reality and then there's the reality show. I think we've got to make sure, as we said from the beginning, we were going to be honest about this. So Adam Light, Married at First Sight, wow, DX, we breaking all the rules. And hopefully we're going to put the world to rights today, guys. So hopefully you're having a beautiful Sunday night. If you just watched Inveiled, hope you enjoyed. If you're ready, like I am, Monday night, tomorrow night, about 2 weeks left, I think. And this is done. This is done. What are we watching next? What should I be watching next? Well, let's get into it. First up, Jordan and Shanita. Beautiful couple, and from the day dot seemed to really like each other, had a great honeymoon, have taken things steady, really got to know each other, and then I've had a very small fallout. And I think when everyone picks at perfection, especially a bit quicker than they would somebody who they think has took many hits, but it seems to be that I'm guilty of that with Shanita here, where the one little thing that she's done that was for me a little bit off was bring up something to the group she'd not brought up with Jordan directly. And at the dinner party, she'd maybe given this honesty box where she answered a few questions, which I guess unfortunately is the name of the game, where had she been a bit more wise and with a bit more foresight, she'd have actually shared how she was feeling before all of this. However, they're just a sweet little couple. I do predict that it's going to be a few more challenges as they go, and I'm pretty sure they'll say yes at each other's vows. Whether they last together long term, that's the thing. That's the thing for me. Jenna and Zoe, I've got a feeling that's going to end pretty quick and pretty powerfully and viciously. I don't know why. I hope not, because I really like Jenna and I really like Zoe. I think Zoe's really quite maybe too stubborn. Jenna is maybe even a little bit, I was so wrong with this lady, I think she's actually too sweet. Vegan sugars, of course, and that, but genuinely too sweet. So it just seems to be that there's no reason why that can't work. But for whatever reason, they just seem to be like two magnets that are trying to push themselves together when it's just not working. So I've got a bad feeling for those guys. But for the first lesbian couple, I'm glad they've just been honest and not just put ridiculous pressure on themselves to be like, we are going to work regardless. Thomas and Adrian, my gosh. Did we see on Friday? These guys are really, really close now. I'm going to be again controversial with here. I think just based on the fact let me know what you guys think when I share my thoughts here with you. If I was in Adrian's shoes, I would be loving life as soon as they put Tom on this platter. Yeah, he's got thick skin, and yeah, he's a solid guy, and he's a teacher I think he's a drama teacher, which I think he's going to play into my thinking a little bit, but he's a drama teacher. But when you've given Tom, and therefore for me it's like a perfect excuse, I've not got over the fact that a couple of times he's turned around and said Tom's manipulating him. Now, I'm sorry, that, I don't know, is that a guilty conscience comment? Tom doesn't seem, and I mean this respectfully to Tom, I really like him, I probably speak to him more than anybody else. I don't think he's capable of manipulating himself, let alone then manipulating in a relationship, because he's too much living in the moment. So how can anyone manipulate anything without any foresight? Adrian, on the other hand, I don't know. I really like him. Please don't let this get misconstrued. I really like him. I think he's calming, grounding, and it's, again, I think going back to that picking at perfection. When you're picking at perfection, because really these two seem like they should be a great match. Yet again, I don't feel, and I've got no spoilers here, I don't want to know, because I want to enjoy the show with the rest of us and give real reactions, so I won't want to know. But I've again got a feeling they'll be there, but not there at the end, saying yes to each other. Two people that have gone now, let's get on to those. Jess and PJ, they've gone a few weeks ago. Let's not really mention them too much. There's another video that I'll put a little link to in the bio below, which is again in relation to some fires that have kind of come from that since. not great, and we'll be sharing a few things in relation to real versions from the contestants, I guess you'll call them, in relation to what I've found out over the last few days. And Richie and Lara, who were also gone, so they'd started well, and it was 2 couples out, 2 couples in. The more that it's gone on, the more that I'm like, Richie loves that guitar so much that I've gone from feeling like, okay, there's a little bit of a hesitancy in my mind in relation to how many shows, say, April's been on, which I found out afterwards, to a similarity with Richie, and I'm not too cozy then in relation to that. And of course, he's released a song quite quickly, and I'm thinking, I like Richie, I think he's a lovely gent. Was his main motivation to find love and truth in this, or was his main motivation to go, as a byproduct, I'll get something good out of this in relation to promotion for songs, which therefore, yeah. Ick or stick, they decided to ick and separated our Richie and Lara. George and April. So let's talk about these guys. Let's talk about them. Oh wow, Whitney and Duka. I ain't even. Whitney and Duka. Okay. I'm not going to say much on this one, because he shouldn't be writing Stay Still. Like, there's no way you can sit there, see the development of Toast into the relationship after 4 or 5 weeks and a holiday and still be sat there hoping for something. However, the one thing that I will say in Duka's defence is she's been weird with him, body language wise, face to face, for the whole time. The only time I've seen her saying like disrespectful things either about his name or it's when she's one-on-one with that producer. So if he can't hear that, then this could be the first time he's picking up all these things that she's been saying and doing the whole time and possibly feeling really played. But I must admit, if he puts Stay again, Whitney's right. Like, Whitney is right. Like, you are just here for clearly just to grow your profile in some capacity. I appreciate growing your profile as collateral damage and just damage limitation. Let's make the best of this situation because it's going really negatively. However, again, if you keep putting Stay now, I'm going to think that was primary function. And I do like Duka 100%, and I think he's been given a really, really, really bad hand with Whitney, and she's just not a very nice person, is the polite way of putting it. Anything else will get me banned by YouTube, so we'll see how that situation goes. Spoilers alert. Mute me for a second if you don't want to know what happens with Whitney next. But she's about to cheat on him anyway, so just, as I said in the last video, the Katie Hopkins blueprint to fame, she's read the book and she's on step 2 of step 10 to just being the most hated woman in the country. So good luck to her. I just think she's got a really, really bad advisor. Okay, April and George, let's talk about those guys, because there is a lot to unpack there. So George and April, from the beginning, have seemed to get on really, really good up until he said he's got 4 kids. She seemed to back off a little bit, and therefore they've gone on their honeymoons. Apparently April's kissed a girl in the hot tub, has then said all men should like that. Love the generalisations, thanks April. Has then made George, who bless him, is a really, really sensitive cat. Seems like a lovely gent, but really, really soft-hearted. Was crying before his wedding had even started. Takes him up to face his fear of heights, which he absolutely smashes, by the way, and abseils down the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's Wasteland or something like that, the Wastelands or something. But he's done all of that, and I can see in a few points where she's almost disappointed that he's meeting the challenges, and for her, because I think she's come in with the narrative of, I need to end this relationship, but it be their fault. I'm not in it for a real reason. And this is what I feel. She runs a bridal shop, which already had me asking questions as to why she's coming on a marriage show. And the dresses are really bad, in my opinion. It'd have me questioning if she chose one of her April's dresses, you'd be going, look at how bad that dress is. Like, why would you wear that for your wedding? Like, my gosh, I can nothing more than a nightie at best. Anyway, but she's promoting her nighties or wedding dresses, whatever she's calling them. And I'm just in complete shock in relation to how she's managed to play this. This isn't her first rodeo, guys. April has been, and this is what got me 2 or 3 weeks in, and I'm like, I'm sorry, she's done for me. When she's been on several reality TV shows, she's probably, and this is speculation, she probably applied for Come Dine With Me, Apprentice, anything that had reality TV on it, The Circle. She's gone and auditioned for it, yeah? So she's been on several shows. Now, George was made to look in the last episode, sat on the sofa crying again, that he was bringing up her past. So who she'd been with, slept with, what celebrity elements, whatever she's done, and how they were, and was he better, and what their bodies were like. Basically, like, he's an insecure mess is what this episode, I hate to say, made George look like now. I've not been George's biggest supporter, but I'm about to be. That poor bloke is being absolutely played. So I just wanted to say, from George's mouth, and he shared it on his stories here, what the hell happened there? That wasn't an argument over her past. She's clever. She knows that how Channel 4 can play it, and he's really using her words very well. So I'll give April some credit there. If she used her powers for good instead of evil, she would be a really, real good asset to everybody who knows her. Unfortunately, she's got a natural snake ability. But Georgie's problem wasn't to do with her past relationships. What he's done is he'd had a conversation with her privately about other reality TV shows she's been on. Now, I would have the same problem. He signed up for it as well. But if he's come on this wholeheartedly looking for a partner, and now he's found out that the person he's been matched up with has been on several reality shows, several, you might have concerns there. I would. Would you? Fair enough. If not, tell me in the comments why you wouldn't, and that would help me understand. But I would have concerns personally. I'd be asking some questions. Now, apparently she's lied about the TV shows that she's been on. Let that sink in. So when it's lying about her past TV shows, now that would for me be like a cheater lying about someone they've cheated with. A fraudulent person lying about money. Unfortunately, you're going to be in a position where I'm a little less second chancey when it comes to you making what I feel is an habitual mistake that I've seen them be made before. So this is a very, very, very interesting situation. The fallout is not to do with her past in relation to men and relationships and marriage and partners and size of everything, anything that's been made out to be. It's this reality TV show element. So she lied about the TV show she's been on. She's using her words very cleverly to make it look like he's talking about past and letting Channel 4 do the rest. I think she's a lot smarter than we're giving her credit for. She could be behind me right now. Like, she's that clever. I think I'll give it a look. So moving it forward onto the new couples. Again, more exclusives here. Gemma is not happy I've had a couple of back and forths in relation to things that have come across, and I think it was just a complete mistiming. As much as it was miscommunication, it was mistiming. And to be fair, you'll be pleased to know I've got a lot of love for that lady at the moment. It's all good. We definitely needed to have a bit more of a heart-to-heart, but she's genuinely, as I said, genuine. I nailed it again. One thing I find is someone swears a lot. Sometimes I can feel a bit like, especially certain words, I'm like, my gosh, it just, you have to get desensitized to them. And some people, bless them, they don't want to give you any time to get desensitized. However, the one thing I do like about someone who swears a lot, and this is going to surprise you now, I'm coming from a Christian household, like this is like, I'm swearing, don't say any negative words, I'm about 13 years old. They're honest. They'll say something right from the hip, like there's no question. F's, Jeff's, C's, B's, W's and Z's, they will drop whatever the hell they're thinking at the time. But that also means that they're pretty flipping genuine. So when you see growth there, you'll see that growth in them more than you will see growth in anybody else, because you'll see it, because it'll be what they're thinking is what's being said, what they're doing is what's being said, what they're moving to is what's being said. Whereas other people are a little bit more reclusive and selective with their words, like Adrian, and therefore can put on a bit more of a performance, potentially like Adrian. But we'll talk about that one in more detail as well. But wow, Adam, like, just wanted to break that down. Matt's apparently been a bit terrible in some previous relationships. I like he's all about positivity and bright things, but again, I'm like, There's a lot of sales patter there. These upcoming sales myself. There's a lot of sales patter, which is all well and good. Does that evolve into action? And from what I've seen so far, no. It's just serving words. And again, unfortunately, a lady being driven crazy. And for me, a lady that's toned down. Think of how vulgar some of those comments were. And again, from where Jem's frustrated, she's going, I was being matched energy-wise. So she's going, look, I've been matched energy-wise on the day. There's even a few photos that, I've seen them, and when she gives me permission, I'll share them with you, but tell a very different story. And you go, okay. Okay, we're finding the real in the reality. And as for Sophia and George, man, not George, Sophia and Jonathan, the guys I call George and Peppa Pig, I still think she's in it for Instagram a little, again, for her to mention it and already be releasing dresses that she was on the honeymoon wearing and all these advertisements and things. I'm already a little suspect. However, I do think she was a little bit more hopeful. And now Jonathan has not lost himself, but I now don't want him to. I thought he was going to lose himself. Now I'm like, mate, you need to tone it down a little bit. Tone it down. Again, not 1970s attitude, so I'm happy with that. But we are talking 1992, 93 attitude in comparison to where, him and Kwame have got to be best mates in relation to. We shouldn't have said that. We shouldn't have said that. Or we should have stopped talking. And saying that, I'm going to do exactly the same. Instagram, TikTok, mainly YouTube, guys. So again, please subscribe. That's the one thing where I can start doing a little more of a butterfly tummy feeling, thanks to you guys, where I'll get that little email saying I've got new friends, new comments. Give me a little smile as well. I'll try and get back to them as and when I can. So again, thank you. DX, I've got 2 words for you. Love ya.